I'm a man of simple tastes. If you put a game in front of me that has A, an interesting art style that jumps off the screen directly into my retinas, B, a B-movie storyline that is corny and fun, and C, a gameplay system with mechanics that appear simple on the surface, but have more depth than meets the eye, I'm going to be pretty excited to play it. I realized this a few years ago and I really thought about what I look for in a video game, and the gamier a game is, the more I look forward to it. Long story short, Viewtiful Joe is my kind of game. It ticks all three of the boxes above. See, unlike most games I cover on my channel, I didn't know much about Viewtiful Joe before I played it at all. But that art style I mentioned above caught my eye years ago when I was watching a Let's Play on some channel years and years in the past. I knew I'd play it eventually, and after getting some sweet Amazon money for my birthday, I found a copy at a pretty good price and I bit. I didn't research it or anything, I just kinda took a leap of faith on it. And it turned out the risk was well worth the reward because this game is freaking good. Let's break this down.
Viewtiful Joe.
We play as Joe, a normal dude who is nostalgic for B-tier superhero movies that came out when he was a kid. So if you're here watching this movie because now you're nostalgic for this game that came out when you were a kid, congratulations. You're Joe now. You're the hero of this video. Welcome. We've been waiting for you. While at a showing of one of the classic Captain Blue movies, the film's antagonist reaches out and kidnaps Joe's girlfriend Sylvia, pulling her into the screen. Immediately after, Captain Blue's mech suit flies out of the screen and takes Joe into movie land as well. This is when the game's art style really starts to grab you. The levels are made up of a variety of 2D and 3D assets, which really emphasizes the idea that you're on a movie set. Upon entry, the ghost of Captain Blue becomes your mentor, bestowing upon you the V-Watch, the band that grants Joe superpowers. Blue gives Joe tips and tricks to fighting and becomes Joe's sparring partner as the game teaches you how to play. As you carry on through the 7 episodes of the game, you discover the villains of Movieland are trying to break out into the real world because as humans stop seeing the need for film, the characters trapped in the original celluloid will die. The story is serviceable enough, has a few twists, and by the end of it, you'll see a lot of creative ideas lifted straight out of Star Wars, which I find more funny and tongue-in-cheek than I do derivative, although I could see some people taking issue with it if they don't like that kind of thing. It supplied enough of a connective tissue between levels that explains all of the wild places you explore within the narrative, but the gameplay itself is really what hooked me, and what I ended up loving most about the game. Viewtiful Joe's combat system seems simple on the surface, but actually has much more depth than I was ever expecting. There's a punch button, a kick button, a jump button, and you can dodge low and high enemy attacks by pressing down or up on the analog stick respectively. But that's really only scratching the skin of the combat mechanics, and you start to get to the meat of it the longer you play. Where Viewtiful Joe gets creative and unique is in Joe's superpowers. Since Joe is from the real world, he can manipulate the speed at which Movieland moves. Joe can slow down time and do powerful attacks to enemies, or he can enter Mach speed and multiply to attack multiple enemies at once, as well as grab items in the background that he wouldn't be able to get otherwise. These are called his VFX moves, and as you play you hold down L to slow down time, or R to speed things up. You're only limited by the VFX meter at the top of your screen that can be upgraded by collecting tokens in all of the levels. If you run out of VFX, basically what happens is Viewtiful Joe turns back into regular Joe, and once you let the meter refill, he turns back into Viewtiful Joe after screaming his signature catchphrase,
Head to the go-go, baby!
This combat system encourages experimentation when tackling opponents. The idea of our titular hero punching his way through hordes of indistinguishable robots is ripped straight out of Star Wars, where the main characters just slice through droids like butter. The main difference is that you're the one doing the slicing, and it is so satisfying to chain attacks together. Each level is broken down into 2 parts, and part 1 usually ends in a mini-boss of some sort like a tank or a helicopter, and what I think is cool is that these become normal enemies after you beat them, giving you the feeling of progress and improvement, especially when you go from these things being brutal at first attempt to being able to take 2 choppers at once with no problem. The second halves of levels end with real boss battles, and these guys are awesome. Each of them are designed well and are distinct from one another. You've got bosses like a half-man, half-shark Grand Bruce, and you have a reptilian biker gang leader, Hulk Davidson. Davidson throws a battle axe and calls in firebombs, and Grand Bruce spits water mines and mostly just tries to eat you. Fire Leo is probably the hardest boss in the game, which is funny because he wasn't even the last boss, and what makes this battle difficult is trying not to fall in lava while trying to manipulate time to get hits on him. My only real complaint with the boss battle is that a few of them all boil down to the same thing: slow down time and punch until they die. It's not terrible because you still have to learn their moves and react to them to get hits. That's where the real challenge comes in. And on top of the bosses, the opponents you face moment to moment in every level are pretty varied in both design and abilities, and a lot of them feel ripped straight from B-movie tropes. The robots range from wearing tutus and spinning to attack you, to being a Western gunslinger who slides and rolls around the screen while taking fire at you. On the other side of the gameplay is some light puzzle platforming that encourages you to learn about the different moves you have. Like, did you know you can do an uppercut? Like, I didn't. Here, practice it by moving this bomb up to different levels of a chandelier. Or hey, did you realize that slowing down time makes your downward smash stronger? Try to use it on this button to activate it and unlock a door. It's simple, yet effective. And we have to talk about the level design. Every level feels deliberately designed with the environment around it in mind. My favorite level in the game takes place inside a submarine where you have to reach different areas of the sub by flipping it upside down or right side up, and it all culminates in an escape where you have to climb up as the sub sinks nose first into the abyss. While I think the submarine is probably the best example of that in the game, there are all kinds of design choices that are well done in levels, and you can really tell how much care and thought was put into every single chapter. I don't consider myself much of a 2D beat-em-up fan, but Viewtiful Joe shattered my idea of what a beat-em-up can be. It's so refreshingly deep, and I never felt like I was just mashing the same button over and over until the credits rolled. You have to consider your attacks because every enemy requires a different combo system to defeat them. And I didn't even really get a chance to mention it anywhere, but there's even an upgrade system and a shop where you can unlock different abilities and increase your health meter with currency you earn from completing levels. There's a ton to do here and so many different ways to change your playstyle. Your first playthrough of Viewtiful Joe will likely last you between 7 and 10 hours, but the game encourages you to go back and play through multiple times to unlock different characters to play with and different game modes to experience. You can unlock Alistair, Captain Blue, and Sylvia, and each one has a different, unique playstyle, and you can even unlock Dante from Devil May Cry if you have the PS2 version of the game. After doing some more research, I'm kinda shocked this game didn't sell better. It reviewed extraordinarily well and has a pretty strong fan base to this day. It's been way too long since we've seen another entry in this series. Going into this, I didn't really know what to expect, and now that I've finished the game, it's really hard for me not to recommend. When all was said and done with Viewtiful Joe, I had a smile on my face and the urge to go back and play more from the series. And really, what more can you ask for when looking at one of these games? Well, that's going to do it for this week's video. I feel like I was so excited about talking about Viewtiful Joe that I just spit it all into this very quick 7-minute video. This is like one of the shortest videos I've ever done, and usually that means I didn't like the game, but God, Viewtiful Joe was awesome. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like on it. If you want to see more videos from me, you can always hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to make sure you never miss one of my uploads. And lastly, let's chat about Viewtiful Joe. Leave a comment in the description. Did you play it as a kid? Have you just now recently gone back to it? Let me know what you think of it. I'd love to hear about it, and tell me which games in the series are the best to play. I am dying to actually go back and play more, so I could really use some recommendations. But anyway, I'll see you next time.